Hi, everyone. Weekly forecast with Shanna with Apogee the Moon. And this week I have, we have a lot to talk about. So the one thing that I do want to say is that there is, let me adjust this here. Sorry about that. In case you don't know, I have a website and it's www.apogeethemoon.com. You can find that in the description box below. Welcome. Like, share, subscribe if you feel so called to do so. And then also I wanted to talk about the fact that I have Instagram for those that don't know, and I also have Facebook. I go by moonapogee_astrology at both Facebook and Facebook and Instagram. And so I just wanted to let everybody know that in case you didn't know that, and now you do. And so stay tuned next week because I will actually have some other announcements coming up. And I'm actually really excited to announce that, but I have to wait till next week because, well, I have to wait till next week. So I will get into this week's forecast and share my screen like I always do here. And then we can talk about the energies of this week. And so this week we have some interesting energy. So we have the sun squaring the nodes, which is very karmic. Anytime a planet squares the nodes, it's very karmic and it's very interesting to see what unfolds. Each planet is going to have its own energy signature. Each planet that squares the nodes is going to have something different in terms of our karmic knots unfolding, right? And then, so we do also have Mercury into Libra, on the 30th, and we do have on the same day, the third quarter square of the new moon that we had in Leo. I'm adding these to my video. I'm adding these to my monthly subscription. In case you didn't know, you can always pop over to my website, description box below. Sign up to receive my monthly newsletter, and you will get the entire month worth of aspects all in one go. Follow me on Instagram or Facebook to get daily updates. You can always pop back over to my website. I release weekly forecasts like this in written form, only it's the generalized, not sign specific, just the general energy of each aspect that's going on. Just to let you all know there. On September 2nd, we do have Mars opposing Neptune. That one's not so fun. I don't like that one. Happens once every 2 years. And then we also have Mercury in trine with Saturn, which is actually really nice. So August 29th, general forecasts. The sun squaring the nodes at 6 degrees. So as the sun entered Virgo, right, where the sun goes, our attention follows. It's just how it is because it's the brightest object in our sky. And whatever sign in tropical zodiac that it is transiting, our focus is going to be on themes surrounding those signs. So when the sun entered Virgo, we officially too hit the square season to the eclipses in Gemini and Sagittarius. So as the sun transits here, the effects of the eclipses will actually start to manifest and take hold, and destiny will be unfolding, right? I look at it as like a karmic knot unfolding, right? So the sun squaring the nodes exact on this day is a manifestation point, and there can be an air of magic, manifestation, karma, destiny, all of those keywords, right? And as the sun is one of the planets actually involved in the eclipses, this is a very powerful part of the unfoldment of the astrology. So pay attention on this day. There will be themes, signs, synchronicities, people, places, events unfolding in a way that may seem like it's out of your control, or it could feel kind of like it's by your own choosing. So fate and fortune, as they say, favors the bold. So what are you going to do to take hold of your destiny here? That's my question. My question for me too. So on August 30th, we do have Mercury moving into the sign of Libra. And so as Mercury moves into Libra, our thoughts, our words, our deeds, and all of our communication can actually take on that more relational, relationship-oriented flavor. So Mercury in Libra is very diplomatic, is very relational, is very conversational, interrelational even, right? Like that interrelation that you have with other people. And here Mercury transits, you know, this sign of balance, of negotiations, of mediations, of conversations, right? So conversations can go more smoothly. And so then we do also on this day have third quarter square of the new moon that we had in Leo. Now we are winding down from that full moon that we had, that blue moon really that we had in Aquarius. And so now as we're winding down here, we hit third quarter square. Now the third quarter square for this particular moon is really interesting. We had the new moon, the first quarter square, and the full moon from the new moon in Leo, first quarter square, full moon, all in the fixed signs. Now, as we hit this third quarter square, the third quarter square is actually in the mutable signs. And so what this says to me, and the reason I decided that I wanted to start sharing this, in my weekly videos, I won't go over this in the actual forecast, but I wanted just the general energy of where and how we could be letting things go. This third quarter square is asking us to release and let go. It is also asking us to stay flexible, because you have to remember the new moon and the full moon and that first quarter square were all in fixed signs, very stubborn, very tenacious, very, signs that like to hold on to things long past their expiration date, holding on to toxic energy as well. And so now with this third quarter square happening in the mutable signs, this is asking us to, to let go, to release, right? And so in where the sun is in Virgo, being very practical and pragmatic and orderly and doing things in the right order. And the moon is in Gemini. Gemini is about talking it out. And here with the moon too, the moon is our emotional state. And with the moon in Gemini, we can compartmentalize in a way and actually look at our emotions in a very logical, linear fashion. Just do be aware that there is with both the sun and the moon in signs that are ruled by Mercury, there can be that little bit of double speak. So just be aware of that as well. But we can be very practical, very pragmatic, very orderly, very conversational, and this can also be part of that fated karmic knot, because the sun is still in square with the nodes, right? It just happened just a day prior, and the moon is with the north node. And the north node, it's the north node of the moon, right? So this is kind of the direction that we're going in. And with the moon here, this can definitely see, Destiny's hand at play as well. So pay attention on this day too, because there's definitely some very karmic things going on. Now on September 2nd, we do have Mars opposing Neptune. This is not a nice energy. Since I started my astrological journey, this happens once every 2 years, just because of Mars retrograde cycle. Roughly, it happens once every 2 years. And it's not fun. It's not a fun energy to have. There's lots of confusion. They're not friends, Mercury and Mars, or not Mercury, sorry, Neptune and Mars. Mars rules our action. Mars rules our tempers, right? Our temperament, war, violence. It rules, passion and power and things like that. It can rule ambition. Now with Neptune is a very nebulous ephemeral, very non-physical planet. And so, you know, Neptune can distort things if it's not in a positive aspect. You can utilize Neptune in positive aspect, trine, sextile, etc., or even conjunction as a very highly creative and highly, you know, intuitive kind of energy. But when it's a hard aspect to Neptune, you know, there's lies, deceit, manipulation, scapegoating, all those types of things. And so, you know, with this pairing of Mars and Neptune, suspicion is a really good word to use. You know, nefarious, maybe another, insidious could be another. And I say these words because, you know, words have power. But I also want to emphasize the fact that when Mars opposes Neptune, you know, and when you see this in a birth chart, these are the people, and I know I'm going to catch flack for saying this, but Mars opposing Neptune, I actually personally know people that have this placement. They are shifty, they are shady. You know, they are the ones that you kind of question whether or not they're lying bold-faced right to you, because, well, you just don't really know. And that's, you know, that's a problem. Their loyalty, their integrity comes into question. How they speak can seem very nebulous at times as well, like whether or not what they're doing is on the up and up, right? Whether or not it's truly legal, even sometimes. So be aware that on this day we can deal with unsavory types, right? These are the people that would sell their grandmas to make a quick buck. So, you know, there's that. Now on September 4th, we do have Mercury coming into a trine with Saturn. Mercury coming into a trine with Saturn is great news for everyone. You know, Mercury is in the sign of Libra. This is about mediation, balanced conversation. Saturn in Aquarius is about the grounded, practical, diligent group efforts that we're making for our long range goals, plans, hopes, wishes, and dreams, right? And so these two in trine can see people coming together to communicate very grounded, very balanced, you know, very long range planning of goals and relational themes. You know, this can see mergers of business. This can also see marriages as well. Maybe someone in the celebrity field is getting married. Maybe there's, you know, a merger that's happening between a couple of businesses or something like that, you know. And with Mercury and trine with Saturn, this is very grounded, practical conversations as well, you know, with authority figures, because Saturn rules authority figures. So Saturn, though, does sober up any planet that touches it. And so Mercury wants to talk. Mercury is very conversational. And so these two in positive aspect can actually see really great, grounded, practical, long range planning conversations going on, even if they could be sobering, right? Or solemn, or yeah, there's solemn. We'll leave that there. So now that we've talked about the general forecast, let's get into all 12 signs, starting with Aries. And so for Aries and for Aries rising, you know, this sun squaring the nodes, this is happening from your 6th house because the sun is transiting your 6th house. Your focus has been on your daily routines. Your focus has been on your health, your wellness, whether or not you're well or healthful, right? And so there could definitely be something going on there. Now, with the nodes transiting your 3rd and your 9th house, this is a manifestation point in the in-between of the eclipses that happened in your 9th house, which is your higher viewpoint, your dogmatic belief systems, what you know to be right, true, and just in the world. And then your 3rd house of your daily kind of small level communications, your, you know, thinking, speaking, communicating, writing even. So if you're an Aries rising, you know, this is, the nodes transiting here have been nice for you, you know, in trine with your ascendant and sextile with your ascendant. And so there could be a letting go happening of a worldview or of a dogmatic belief system that you had. Now, with Mercury moving into Libra, you know, the next day, this could also see, you know, because the North Node is in Gemini in a Mercury ruled sign, this could definitely see your focus shifting from your health, your wellness, your well-being to your partner's health, wellness, and well-being. Just so you're aware, there could be this could be, you know, a signature for making sure that the people that you're in partnership are taken care of. This could also be, you know, some contract or agreement coming around for you to take notice of as well. And it could feel like there's a fated element to it, because on that same day, we are having that third quarter square with the sun and the moon from that new moon in Leo in your 5th house of what it is that you're passionate about. Now on September 2nd, we have Mars opposing Neptune. So Mars in your 6th house opposing Neptune in your 12th house. This could definitely see some of you, and I think I've been talking about this for a couple weeks now as planets move through your 6th house, of your health, your wellness, your well-being, but also of like your actual physical health, right? Like there could be issues going on there as these planets are transiting. And so with Mars here as well, because this is your chart ruler, there could be some really confusing conversations that are going on with doctors, hospitals, rehabilitation centers, you know, any kind of rehabilitation, whether or not that's alcohol or drug or, you know, physical rehabilitation centers. So there could definitely be some very interesting conversations going on there, but it's going to be murky. It's going to be confusing. It's going to be, you know, you're not really going to understand what's going on. So just be aware of that. And then the Mercury in trine with Saturn, this is happening in your 7th house and your 11th house. So this is really good. This could see from earlier this year, you know, as Mercury was transiting, you know, your 2nd or your 3rd house. This could actually see this could actually see you reselling something. I say that because I know someone that's actually doing that, reselling something that they purchased. So this could see a contract, an agreement, or negotiation pop up with in terms of either you purchasing or you selling something. For, you know, from a social network or from a group or organization that you belong to. It could see that as well. This could also see, you know, if you're an entrepreneur, this could see maybe some clients coming in from your friends group, from, you know, your social networks and the people that you surround yourself with. Maybe you get some referrals and you're now getting clients. This could also see, you know, getting very clear on your boundaries in relationship, not just with your relationship, but with like your one-to-one relationships, but with your partner's relationships with friends as well. So there could definitely be some sobering conversations surrounding that, not in a bad way, because it's a trine, right? It's not like it's a square. This is a trine. This is having those easier conversations around your boundaries, your boundaries in relationship, and your boundaries with your friends in your relationship. So it could be that as well. And this could also see conversations coming up too with maybe like a social group around your career as well, or around your health even, because we do have, you know, Mars as well in opposing Neptune still by this time. So it could definitely be some interesting things that way. Okay, and then for Taurus and for Taurus rising, the sun squaring the nodes is happening in your 5th house, right? So the sun is transiting your 5th house. You know, the sun has been bringing light, joy, play, fun, you know, romance, hobbies, things that you love to do, your children, maybe, your focus has been on your kids or your hobbies or your romantic partners. That could definitely be a thing here. Now with the sun squaring the nodes, this is happening in your second, and the nodes are in your second and in your 8th house. So there's something that you, not necessarily you, it could be your partner is having to let go of a resource or let go of a job, or maybe you yourself are, getting a new job, making more money, or there's something to do with finances, either yours or other people's. And with the sun squaring here from the 5th, this tells me that this is something that you're really passionate about, something that lights you up and brings you joy. And so now, instead of focusing on other people's finances, other people's money, now you're really getting clear and focusing on your own and your own sense of value, your own sense of worth, right? That could be a thing here. With Mercury moving into Libra for you, Taurus, Mercury is moving into your 6th house. So what this could be is this could be your focus shifting too, with Mercury coming out of its home sign, moving into a Venus ruled sign, focusing on your relationship to your body, focusing on your relationship to what it is that you're doing every single day. And there could be conversations and communications, with either romantic partners or just in general. This could be, conversations around your health, your wellness, your well-being, what it is that you're doing every day and how you're going about doing that. And maybe you decide you're going to go, like, I'm going to be specific here. I'm just going to give an example, right? Then it doesn't have anything to do with anybody, but just in general, this could maybe be having a conversation with someone to go to the gym, right? Because you want to get your health up and out there. Or this could be a conversation about a job. Maybe you're going for a job interview. You do have some, second, 6th, and 10th house things going on. So that could be a thing too. With Mars opposing Neptune, this is happening again in your 5th house, in your 11th house. There could be some weird conversations surrounding, some nebulous conversations happening between what it is that you want to do, what it is that you love to do, your children, your romantic partners, and your friendships and the groups and organizations that you surround yourself with. There could be an argument or a dispute with either a boyfriend or girlfriend around the people that you're surrounding yourself with, and you're really not understanding what the heck this person is saying. Or it could be a friend that you're having an argument with, and they're not being very clear about why they don't like your new boyfriend. Could be something like that, just as an example. But this is definitely, Mars is inciting passion here. It's in trine with your ascendant and sextile with your descendant. So it's not the worst energy in the world, but it is Mars and it can be inflammatory, just so you're aware. But this could also be, really spiritual and really sexy and really transcendent in a way, especially if you're a more masculine Taurus. So then we have Mercury coming in trine with Saturn, and Mercury again is in your 6th house in trine with Saturn, transiting your 10th. So this to me says that there's definitely, from earlier in the week to now, there's some developments that are going on in terms of what it is that you're doing out in the world, your career, your job, what you're doing every single day. This could see some Taurus rising people getting the job that they've been really wanting, and really getting very clear and very grounded and very practical in what it is that they want to do, the money that they want to make, and how they relate to the people in positions of power and authority that either they have over others or that others have over them. So there could definitely be some really interesting developments there for Taurus rising in particular. For Gemini and for Gemini rising, the sun is squaring the nodes from the 4th house. The North Node is in your sign, Gemini. So you've been focusing on you. You've been focusing on your needs, your wants, your desires, doing something for you that's going to benefit you. And so with the North Node here, the focus is on yourself. And it's letting go of old ideologies in relationship with other people. And with the sun here, you know, squaring the nodes in your first and in your seventh house from your fourth, this could also see you letting go maybe of a family member, or this could see you letting go or having conversations around letting go of a relationship or a family relationship. It could be something like that. Whatever is going on here for you is very karmic, and things need to be cleared up, right? And not so murky. And then Mercury moving into Libra, I mean, this is moving into your fifth house. This is bringing fun, joy, play. This is bringing maybe some sexy conversation into the mix too, right? But your mind, right, because you're ruled by Mercury, you're going to be focusing on your children, on your hobbies, on things that bring you joy. And so this is really good for you over this transit here. Now, Mars opposing Neptune, you know, this is happening in your fourth house and in your 10th house. So for you, this is hitting your angles. And so this is, you know, this is in square with your ascendant and your descendant. So it's affecting you and your relationships, but it's also affecting what's going on at home. There could be arguments, disputes, arguments and disputes at home, man. Mars in the fourth house is not a fun place to have Mars. It does cause arguments and disputes and inflammatory kind of conditions on the home front. And then opposing Neptune, it's really confusing as to what's going on, where it's coming from, whether or not it's coming from your career sector or it's coming from home. There can be some really weird communications, not understanding what's going on, you know, things like that. And it's not a fun place to be. With Mercury coming into trine with Saturn, though, you know, this energy is really good for solid communication, you know, either with an institution, like an educational institution, or, you know, just a higher institution or an institution of sorts. This could also be your, how and what you see to be right, true, and just in the world with Saturn here. I mean, this is a home sign. Traditionally, Saturn rules Aquarius. And so with Mercury coming into a trine from the fifth house, this is possibly seeing you getting really serious about something that you've been passionate about, but taking it to that next level and learning more about it to bring it, when Saturn moves into your 10th house, to bring it into physical reality in terms of what it is that you're doing out in the world. So this could be a launching off point for you, Gemini risings in particular. This could also be your kids as well. And especially, you know, with Mercury ruling your fourth house in trine with Saturn, you know, in your ninth house, this could also see, you know, your children deciding what they're going to do, whether or not they're going to go for a certificate program or whether or not they're going to go to actual college, right? And deciding what their long-term goal is in terms of choosing the right education for them. Or maybe you yourself need to learn something about what's going on with your children, if you have any. And then for Cancer and for Cancer rising, you know, the sun squaring the nodes, this is happening in your third house. And so the north node has been in your 12th house. The south node has been in your 6th house. These are very mental houses. These are kind of, these are the thoughts before the action is taken, right? And so that's from a good teacher of mine, and, you know, a woman that I have studied with for several years now. And I work for her now, Heather Elin. So she, you know, she is so phenomenal with her courses, and I am just so humbled to be part of it. I love it. And the people that I have met on this journey, it just, yeah. Anyway, so I'm a Cancer sun, so this is relevant for me as well. So with the sun squaring the nodes, this is your mental capacity, right? The sun is in your third house of how you think, how you speak, how you communicate, how you move within your community even. So there could be something very fated, something very karmic that is happening here, whether or not it's a fated karmic communication that's coming in about, it could be about finances, or it could be about the letting go or the ending of a job this week, especially. Like maybe you could be let go from work. Or maybe if you've been suffering from health issues, it could be a communication coming in about that that's going to affect, the bottom dollar. It's going to affect how you think about things going forward as well. It could be those types of things too. With Mercury moving into Libra, Mercury's moving into your 4th house. And so there's definitely some conversations that are going to be happening on the home front for you, and conversations surrounding home, surrounding property, surrounding family. And so, there's going to be over the course of the next several weeks here, and especially because Mercury is going to go retrograde. And I didn't say that for the first 4 signs, or first 3 signs, I should say. This is happening. Mercury is going to go retrograde here. So be aware that there's things that are going to have to be reevaluated on the home front. If you're moving, if you're purchasing property, selling property, getting out of a lease, getting into a lease, things like that, moving home, what have you, there's going to be a reevaluation that has to go on. Now with Mars opposing Neptune, this is happening in your 3rd house and in your 9th house. So there could be inflammatory communications, right? Because Mars inflames things, to do with, there could be communication coming from a person in a position of authority over you that is going to affect how you see the big picture. It could be something like that. This could also just be arguments and disputes with neighbors. This could be, not really understanding what's going on in the neighborhood. Maybe there's some things going on in the neighborhood that are really confusing, or there's confusing information that's being communicated around your neighborhood, or in the world at large, or maybe a confusing conversation that's happening that's affecting your worldview, and you're not really understanding and you're not able to grasp what it is. It could be something like that. And with Mercury, though, coming into a nice trine with Saturn, this is happening in your 4th and in your 8th house. So again, there's themes around home, family, property, and communication, because Mercury does rule communication, surrounding death, surrounding wills, insurances, taxes, inheritances, other people's money, clients' money. Just got dizzy there. Just different things going on with that 8th house, with Saturn moving through the 8th house. Maybe there's a communication about a death in the family. I don't want to, say that, but just in general, there could be. Maybe it's like the twice removed great aunt Shelby that lives in Nantucket or something, right? Like something like that. Or it could be a communication, about maybe something going on in terms of insurances, taxes, with your siblings on the home front. It could be something like that. The way this could be, it could be communication about an insurance claim to do with your home or property or taxes. It could be something like that too. So there is that. And then with Leo, and for Leo rising, the sun squaring the nodes is happening in your 2nd house, right? So the sun has been traversing your 2nd house, your sense of value, your sense of worth, your money, your materials, your possessions, the money that you physically bring in from, that you physically make yourself. So your focus has been on what it is that you're doing with your money, whether or not you're saving your money, your relationship even with money. And I mean, this is your chart ruler. So your focus has really been on this. Now the nodes are in your 11th and in your 5th house. And so with the sun squaring the nodes here on, on August 29th, this to me kind of says that there could be some type of fated, some type of karmic, some type of destined event surrounding your money, your materials, your possessions, and even letting go of a creative hobby, or going towards, letting go of something to do with your children and going towards that 11th house of what it is, your long range. Maybe you're letting go of a hobby, or you're taking a hobby, and what you're going to do is you're going to bring that into that North Node and make a long range goal, long range plan to do with what it is that you love. But you're going to let go of the hobby portion, but you're going to bring it into that future, more future oriented position, right? In the 11th house. So it could be something like that. It could also be, maybe there's something going on, in terms of money, materials, and possessions with friends, groups, and organizations, or money, material, possessions to do with your children as well. Or maybe even like what it is that, maybe there's a change going on between you and your children, a sense of value change. Like maybe they're getting older. Maybe there's an aspect that you're letting go of in terms of how you're relating to your children, or how you're relating to your own passions, your own hobbies, your own, things that you love to do just because you love to do them. Now with Mercury moving into Libra, Mercury's moving into your 3rd house, right? And so you can see an uptick, Leo, in communication, in, in maybe short distance travel, or in traveling within your community, or communication within your community. This could also be a communication about a job. This could be a communication about a friend. Maybe a friend is communicating with you about something. Just remember that Mercury will be going retrograde here. And so, as we get into September, when Mercury hits the shadow period, just be aware around that time that there could definitely be some interesting developments. And for you, Leo, because this is your 3rd house, this is the house of our self-made wealth, right? And it's not necessarily a money house, but it's definitely like an entrepreneurial house. And so just be aware that there could definitely be some revisions, revitalizations, and reevaluations that need to happen in terms of contracts, agreements, and negotiations in what it is that you're communicating, in what it is that you're doing, in what it is that you're doing for your entrepreneurial business, if you have one. Otherwise, this could just be communication with siblings or extended family members. And just be aware that Mercury will be going retrograde here. Mars opposing Neptune. So Mars in opposition to Neptune, this is happening in your 2nd house and in your 8th house. So with Neptune transiting here for the last several years, there's been muckiness. Yeah, it's been kind of mucked up with your joint finances, with others' finances, taxes, inheritances, insurances, wills, death, things of those natures. And now with Mars coming in and opposing that, there actually could be a position or a job or something to do, maybe something to do with the home front that is being cut away, something of value, or maybe there's actually spending that has to happen between you and your partner on the home. For something that's really something, could be something water related. It could be maybe your pipes burst or something like that, and or there's flooding or something and you have to get it fixed. And so there's that type of thing. Just be aware of that as well. And then Mercury in trine with Saturn. So Mercury's in your 3rd house and Saturn is in your 7th house. And so this could be communication with someone in a position of authority that you have a contract with. This could be communication with a partner, very grounded, very long-term, long-range planning of what you're doing in partnership and how you're going about doing things in partnership. This is definitely very grounded, very practical communication in partnership with someone else. And so be aware that that is a theme too. So there is that. All right, and Virgo rising, the sun squaring the nodes is happening, right? So the sun is in your sign, the focus has been on you. The nodes are in your 10th and in your 4th. And so that's where all these crazy eclipses have been happening. That's where all these weird karmic events have been happening. Your career and your home life. What's going on? What are you doing out in the world? What are you letting go on the home front so you can reach that 10th house of, you know, your career and what your public reputation and public standing and what you want to do there. With the sun coming through, you know, squaring the nodes at this time, that can see you deciding that you are cutting away a position that you're doing, or cutting away a position. I don't want to say cutting away. Why am I saying cutting away? This could be you focusing on letting go of old, dogmatic, outdated beliefs surrounding what your home life should look like, and going towards what it is that you want to create out in the world, what it is that you want to be known for, how you want to be known, what you want to be known by. So that could be a thing here too. Mercury moving into Libra, you know, this is happening in your second house. And so Mercury, this is your chart ruler. This is your 10th house ruler, moving into your second house of your finances, your money, your materials, your possessions, what it is that the money that you make of your own volition. And so Mercury will go retrograde here. Just be aware of that. It's something that's going to need to be reevaluated of how it is that you're making your money and what you're doing with that money. Mars opposing Neptune, you know, this is happening in your first and in your 7th house. So there's definitely some very, there could be communications. You could be communicating, or a sibling, or yeah, a sibling could be communicating, and it's very inflamed. This could also see communication surrounding joint finances in partnership. This could see confusion and kind of nebulous things going on in partnership. You know, this, I don't like Mars in opposition to Neptune. It's not a fun aspect. So definitely be aware that the themes surrounding maybe cutting away a partnership, or you yourself deciding that you're going to end a relationship with someone, a partnership with someone, a business agreement with someone. So there could be that as well. With Mercury coming into a trine with Saturn, Mercury is in your second house. Mercury rules you, it rules your 10th house. In trine with Saturn, this is happening in your 6th house, right? So these are two money houses. These are your finances, your material, your possessions, your sense of value, your sense of worth, in trine with Saturn in your 6th house of what it is that you're doing every day. So there could definitely be some very grounded, very practical, very long range plans about changing up the routine that you have and deciding what you're going to do going forward with that routine as well. So there is that for Virgo rising. For Libra and for Libra rising, the sun squaring the nodes. I mean, the sun is in your 12th house, and you know, the nodes are in your 9th and in your 3rd. And so these are, again, these are mental houses, right? This is, you know, the North Node is in your 9th house, which is your worldview, what you believe to be right, true, and just in the world, how you see the world around you. And, you know, the South Node is in that 3rd house of your daily communications, of the conversations that you have every single day. So with the sun in the 12th house, squaring the nodes here, this could see a manifestation of you letting go even of something of commercial value, or commerce of some kind, letting go of an aspect of commerce if you have your own business, right? Because the 3rd house is a house of entrepreneurship. And so this could see you letting go of of something to do, something of commerce nature in you know, in that 3rd house, and or communicating about it, or doing something behind the scenes for that future, you know, that big goal, that worldview, that higher minded viewpoint of where you want to be and what you want to be doing. Mercury moving into Libra, I mean, Mercury is moving into your sign. So there could be communications that come from a distance, right? Because the 12th house is something that is a distance from you. There could become conversations also surrounding Yep, no, Libra, I said that backwards. So with the North Node is in your third house. The South Node is in your ninth house. So it's the reverse. I am so sorry, Libra. This is you letting go of a worldview. This is you letting go of something that you thought to be right, true, and just in the world, and moving more towards, or maybe even, bigger goals, bigger aspirations in that sense, or formal structured institution kind of things, and moving more towards certificate programs, or moving more towards community in a way. No, I was right the first time. Oh my goodness. I'm losing my dang mind. I am so sorry, Libra. Oh, it's been a long week. I do apologize, Libra. But yes, so 12th house, and then, yeah, ninth house. So it is something of commerce nature that you're letting go and moving more towards changing your worldview and your thought processes. Mercury moving into Libra, though, Mercury, behind the scenes, long distance communication, like I said, this could also, and because, it does also rule your ninth house. That's where I was going with this. That's why I confused myself. Mercury moving into your sign, this could definitely see maybe long distance communication, or maybe communication coming in from a hospital, or some type of thing behind the scene, whether or not it's a rehabilitation center, whether or not it's hospitals, ashrams, rehabilitation centers, prisons, things like that, right? So behind the scenes communication, this could also even be secret conversations that are now coming through that you're now finding out about. Mars opposing Neptune. So Mars is in your 12th house. This is, again, behind the scenes. And so in opposition to Neptune in your 6th house, there could be really confusing conversations, again, happening with with institutions of that behind the scenes nature, whether or not it's hospitals or retreat centers or rehabilitation centers or prisons or things like that. There's definitely hidden enemy energy kind of things going on here. And this is affecting your health. So it could also be something that's going on that's affecting your health on the day-to-day. And so maybe you need to go, or maybe this is also your partner needing to go, or this could be, changing up what it is that you're doing every day for something that is going to affect the bottom dollar of the money that you make of your own volition. Mercury in trine with Saturn, this is happening in your sign, and this is happening in your 5th house. So there could be really grounded, long range plans going on, so initiated possibly by you about a creative hobby, creative endeavor, something that you want to do because you want to do it, something that you love to do, a boyfriend, girlfriend type situation. And this could also be a conversation around children as well, very grounded, very practical, very long range about what to do with your children moving forward. So it could be something like that as well for Libra. For Scorpio and for Scorpio rising, the sun squaring the nodes is happening in your 11th house, right? So the nodes are in your 8th house and in your 2nd house, right? So there's definitely joint finance, something to do with joint finances that you're going towards, that you're moving towards, something. And with the sun transiting here of the groups and organizations and people, places, and things that you surround yourself with by choice, there's definitely conversations that could be happening in terms of what it is that you're doing in career with these other groups and organizations, and the money that maybe you need to let go of in a certain aspect to move more towards the joint finances, either something to do with your partner's resources, something to do with insurance, taxes, inheritances, you know, things like that. So there's action that's being taken to solidify what these eclipses have been asking you to do in terms of letting something go and bringing something new in, just so you're aware. With Mercury moving into Libra, Mercury is moving into your 12th house. And so there could be, you know, behind the scenes communications over the next several weeks, I should say, the next month really, because Mercury will be going retrograde here. So there's something that's not clear yet as to what is going on in this 12th house for you, whether or not this is hospitals, ashrams, retreat centers, rehabilitation centers. You know, this is something that's going on behind the scenes. And because it's Mercury, it's conversations. Now, Mars opposing Neptune is happening in your 11th and in your 5th house. And so there could be, you, right, could be very inflamed with something that's going on with your social networks, with your social groups, with the people that you surround yourself with by choice, and a creative hobby, a creative endeavor, or something that you love to do, even your children. Or, you know, there's just something really confusing going on with this for you. And maybe with, you know, with Mars in opposition to Neptune, this can be like a low simmering anger just beneath the surface. You know, more so in the square, but I've also seen this too with the opposition. But just be aware that maybe there's something that you're not seeing correctly right now. You yourself are not seeing something or someone correctly right now. And so there's going to be, or a situation even that you're not seeing correctly. And so you're going to have to wait until this passes and wanes in order to get clarity on it. With Mercury in trine with Saturn, you know, this is happening in your 12th house and in your 4th house. So there could be conversations going on behind the scenes to do with the purchase of a property, or to the purchase of like the forever home or the forever property. And there could be more things that need to happen in order for that to happen. So right now there could be behind the scenes conversations about that as well, just so you're aware. For Sagittarius and Sagittarius rising, the sun squaring the nodes. I mean, this is happening in, the sun is in your 10th house, lighting up what it is that you're doing out in the world, lighting up what it is that you're known for, your career, your public reputation and standing. And so what this square is that this could see a manifestation of you yourself letting something go of an old paradigm of who you were to move towards that partnership that you need to move towards. So there's definitely been some things going on with these eclipses asking you to let some aspect, some old outdated belief of yourself go in order to move into this new paradigm that's happening in relationship with other people's contracts, agreements, negotiations, partnerships with other people, whether or not that's a loved one, you know, a marriage, a long-term friendship, or clients, right? So that's going on there too. And it can be very fated. With Mercury moving into Libra, Mercury's moving into your 11th house. So there could be conversations that are going to be going on with your friends groups, with the people and organizations that you surround yourself with. This could also be conversations around groups of people. And just remember, Mercury will be going retrograde here. So there will be a reevaluation and a re-edit of anything that happens about the mid of the month to the end of the month when Mercury stations to go direct. So there's definitely, just be aware that there's maybe some confusing things that are going to happen in terms of friend groups and people that you surround yourself with by choice. With Mars opposing Neptune, this is happening in your 10th and in your 4th. And so there could be maybe something that you're really passionate about is not getting enough attention. And so you are going to be fired up and passionate about getting that message out there, but there could be kind of like a weird fizzle when it comes to that, right? With Neptune in your 4th house, maybe there's something really confusing going on with a family member, going on at home, going on behind the scenes, something to do maybe with, maybe what it is that you're known for is something that you're purchasing on the home front, right? Or maybe you have a home-based business, but there's something that could be very nebulous and very weird going on in terms of what it is that you're trying to do out in the world and what it is that's going on the home front. Now, with Mercury coming into a trine with Saturn, this is happening in your 11th house and in your 3rd house. And so what this is this is really grounded, really long range goals, plans, dreams, wishes, communication, and communicating those, right? Communicating in a very practical and a very pragmatic and a very logical way with a friend, with a social group, with a social network, online social media about long range goals and plans. There could also be maybe meeting up with a friend in your community. It could be something like a long-term friend, like someone that you used to know in childhood. It could be something like that. You know, but it's definitely more along the lines of communicating very solid, down to earth, practical, long range plans. That's what that is to me. Oh, I see it. With Capricorn and Capricorn rising, you know, the sun squaring the nose. This isn't really bad for Capricorns. This is actually kind of really good for Capricorns. So the sun is in your 9th house, right? And so this is how you see the world around you. This is what you know at a big level, what is right, true, and just in the world. And so, you know, this is your 9th house. And so the nodes, the North Node is in your 6th house of health, well-being. You know, it's still a mental health. Yeah, mental health. It is mental health. It's, you know, this square is happening in your mental houses, right? So you have something that you need to let go of, maybe something from the past that you need to let go of, that these eclipses are asking you to let go of. And with the sun here squaring, it's a manifestation of truly letting go of an outdated, very old kind of thing, or maybe even moving away or out of the medical field for some of you. That it could be that, or it could be letting go of being in solitude and seclusion and moving more towards what it is that you're doing every day, or maybe re-entering the workforce, or maybe doing something in terms of your health and your wellness and your mental well-being as well. So there's a manifestation happening there. With Mercury moving into Libra, you know, Mercury is moving into your 10th house. And so this is, right, 10th house. Sorry, it's been a long week. Guys, it's been a really long week. I'm sorry. Yeah, your 10th house. So with Mercury moving into your 10th house, there could be communications from a boss coming in over the next several weeks. Remember, Mercury will be going retrograde here. So we will be reevaluating, or you will be reevaluating, Capricorn, something to do with positions of power and authority, whether or not you are in a position of power and authority, or someone else in a position of power and authority over you. There's going to be conversations around maybe something changing, what it is that you're doing out in the world, or what it is that you're known for over the next several weeks. With Mars in opposition to Neptune, this is happening in your 9th and in your 3rd house. And so what this is doing is this is kind of maybe you are communicating something, or communication comes in for you that is really weird, possibly even ominous, confusing, nebulous, and it really kind of gets your work, like you get up on your soapbox and you're deciding, no, maybe this is a communication from your home country or your parents or something like that too, that really kind of fires you up and has you on your soapbox, you know, saying something and standing up for something that's going on in that way, and being very practical and pragmatic about it as well. With Mercury in trine with Saturn, this is happening in your 10th house and in your 2nd house. So this is definitely something going on with your career, your finances, your monies, your materials, your possessions. what it is that you're doing out in the world. Maybe you get a promotion at a job, maybe you take a job, maybe you leave a job, you know, many different situations that can pop up. It just depends on your specific chart. But there's definitely something to do with money and career involved here. So go Capricorn. And these are good because these are, you know, it's a trine, it's a nice aspect. Yes, you know, Mercury is in square with your ascendant and descendant, but it seems like there's something that needs to be changed out in the public sphere anyway. So for Aquarius and Aquarius rising, the sun squaring the nodes, this is happening. So the sun has been transiting your 8th house. And so with it transiting here, I mean, anytime the sun or planets transit the 8th house, things get a little uncomfortable. And so depending on your other placements and whatnot, this could either be less or more so. And so with the sun transiting your 8th house, you know, there could definitely be a focus just in general as the sun transits here. There could be a focus on your partner's finances and resources. But here, you know, with this being your 8th house, and the nodes transiting your 5th and your 11th house, there could definitely be something going on with you and your partner, and in terms of letting go of you know, of friends groups, of people in groups and organizations that you associate with by choice, and moving more towards your creative hobbies, or moving more towards your romantic playfulness with each other as well, because, you know, these are houses of others as well. So there's definitely some really interesting energy there for you. And so there's definitely some, with the sun moving through here, like I said, this is something to do with your partner, either business partner, marriage partner, contracts, you know, long-term partnerships, long-term friendships, things like that. Mercury moving into Libra, this is moving into your 9th house. And so, you know, there could be communications on what it is that you believe to be right, true, and just in the world. This could be, you know, and just remember, sometimes when we communicate things and something happens, we have to backtrack and we have to think about things a little bit and then come back at it, because Mercury will be going retrograde here in Libra. Just be aware of that. So something that you hold to be right, true, and just may not survive this transit. It might shift and change a little bit here for you. With Mars opposing Neptune, this is happening in your 8th and in your 2nd house. So there's definitely an interesting dynamic going on here in terms of your money, your material, your possessions. Maybe you've been trying to scrape by doing whatever it is that you're doing. And your partner, you have to pull maybe on your partner, or maybe there's arguments and disputes going on, you know, because the opposition can cause a little bit of drama with Mars, especially talking about joint finances, other people's monies, taxes, inheritances, insurances, things like that. Or maybe it's something where you're going to have to give up a little bit of cash in order to get some type of recompense or compensation of some kind from another person. Mercury in trine with Saturn, this is happening in your 9th house to your sign. So this could be very grounded, very practical conversations surrounding either education, teaching, publishing, you know, worldview. Maybe you get into a philosophical conversation with a friend. It could be something like that for you as well. And so, but with Saturn here, this is very grounded, very practical, very long range plans in terms of what it is that's going on. Maybe even moving. Maybe there's conversations that you're having about where you want to move next. Could be something like that too. Finally, Pisces and Pisces rising. The sun squaring the nodes is happening. The sun is in your 7th house. Your focus has been on relationship. Your focus has been on other people. Your focus has been on your partnerships, your marriage partners, your business partners, your clients. and the sun is squaring the nodes. And so there's something that is going to come to fruition, or something that is going to manifest in terms of letting go of an aspect of your career and moving more towards being on the home front, being in, at home, or being, either purchasing a home or something like that, right? So this square is a manifestation point. And so how it shapes up for you, pay attention and understand the themes that are going on. With Mercury moving into Libra, it's moving into your 8th house. And so there could be conversations around death, taxes, joint finances, other people's money. And so there could definitely be some conversations in partnership around money and possessions as well. And so just be aware Mercury will be going retrograde here. And so there could be a reevaluation of joint finances, or maybe a tax settlement or an inheritance settlement, wills, what's the other thing? Insurance payouts and things like that. So there could be some paperwork issues that need to be taken care of here. With Mars opposing Neptune, this is happening again in your sign and in your 7th house. So there could definitely be a partnership that is being cut away from you, or you cutting a partnership out. So just be aware of that as well. This could also be, this could definitely see something to do in partnership and either arguments and disputes, or the cutting out of a partner, period, end of story. With Mercury in trine with Saturn though, Mercury is in your 8th house, Saturn is in your 12th house. There's definitely themes surrounding past lives, solitude, seclusion, moving away from the world, trauma, insecurities. This would actually be a really good, in the 8th and in the 12th, this would be, especially with Mercury here, maybe for you, because Mercury does also rule your 7th house, this could see some of you maybe talking to a psychologist, psychiatrist, past life regressionist about doing something like doing a past life regression or something like that, right? Or doing something with the occult, or working with an astrologer. It could definitely see some things like that. It could also see dealing with taxes in partnership. And so there's something that needs to come to an end. And there's definitely there could be something going on behind the scenes too. Just be aware of that as well. In terms of maybe joint finances that could be hidden as well. Or maybe you guys are squirreling away money to save for a rainy day. So that is what I have for all 12 signs. So I do hope that you all enjoyed this. I hope that you like this. If you feel so called, share and subscribe. And I hope to see you all next week. Bye, everyone.